Today we are doing a Bladewing deck profile. Getting right into it, just a quick reminder, this is not your typical deck. Like all the tier 1 decks for the past years almost, have been very straightforward. Calling units, getting way too much advantage, searching, fetching, attack. This deck does not do that. It can kill on first stride, but overall, this deck plays it very slowly, very controlled, and just the fact that we got this card made all of that possible. This card is the only reason this deck is tier 1 right now. And yes, this deck is tier 1. This went from like being not used at all, apart from a few people like me, because you can see my older deck profiles, to suddenly like everyone in Japan using it to top, along with Zodiac Time Beast and now Battle Sisters and so forth. For Bladewing Sullivan, so this is the main grade 3. We do not run Reiji or the other guy. They're both ass. They're both super mediocre. Some people like running them for like the surprise effect or whatever, but this card is the reason all of this is possible. This card gives your whole hand, everything you guard with, 10k, and all you have to do is Soul Blast 2. So if you don't win on first stride, the whole game will basically be turtling. You will soul charge your triggers and everything into your soul, and then you will blast them out with him. You can guard with draw triggers without any issues whatsoever, and you will just turtle the whole game until you go into your kill and bam. You just out-advantage them very, very slowly. And so this card basically gives you that kind of control. It makes everything super easy to guard and simultaneously lets you put your triggers back, and then with Tybolt you will be able to put those triggers back into the deck. So this card is the engine. Then I run one Glensant Vampire. In Japan people sometimes run him, and then sometimes they run a Charot, and sometimes they don't run anything. Sometimes they just go for grade 3. Whichever one you pick, it totally depends. People run Charot because they can then even play the Charot game, or they run him because he puts so much darkness stuff into your soul that you can use Word Tiger Jaeger all the time. So yeah, I run him. I've also ran the 4 Sullivan build. You can see that in my older profile. But yeah, just testing this one out right now. So he will very often, if you didn't charge your Enigmatic Assassin into the soul with him, I will show you some plays later. He will very often just be, you ride him and then you put in a Word Tiger Jaeger and an Enigmatic Assassin and so forth. He's just so good. For Flying Librarian, this is probably the best grade 2 in the deck. She does so much. So she's a counter blast, but she also counter charges almost all the time. She does 2 soul charges and a draw. So she's just all around way too much value. It's ridiculous that they didn't reprint her because it's a promo and it's super rare and everyone needs 4. So it's shot up in price quite a lot. Then 4 Psychs. Now here's a little personal choice you can make. Some people go for 4 Psychs because it makes it way easier to do your first stride kill. But then others actually go for this guy, Demonted Executioner, and go for a full darkness build. They go darkness so that they can abuse Word Tiger Jaeger, the new stride fodder, way more. I hate personal preference because I believe there's always objectively better deck. But like some people play the Darkness variant and some people play the 4 Psychs variant. I'm doing the 4 Psychs variant right now. These 4, Covetous Succubus. She's basically Flying Librarian Light. She also costs a counter blast, but you can still counter charge. She lets you draw 2 and ditch 1. She's Darkness, which is very good for Word Tiger. But she only soul charges 1. So, like I said, it's kind of Flying Librarian Light. Then we've got the star of the deck, Word Tiger Jaeger. This guy does so much for so little. So he's got 3 skills. First of all, when he's put into the soul because of an effect, you can counter blast and draw, which is like ridiculous because this deck constantly soul charges. So you will just constantly be soul charging, putting him in, counter blast, draw. With the cat you can counter charge. Everything that counter blasts in this deck also counter charges apart from him. Your strides are basically free, so like that counter blast is so free, it's insane. And then he also has an act which lets you counter blast, discard something, get him to the hand, soul charge, And some people go, oh yeah, but you need 10 in the soul. That's like all the time. It's an extra soul charge. You have a stride fodder in your hand at all times because his third skill is he's a stride fodder when there are 2 or more cards with darkness in the soul, which is always because you run so many. This guy, it's just insane. He is so ridiculous. He makes the engine. He turned his deck from tier 3 or 4 into 1. It's so good. Quite frankly, this was a sleeper deck. I thought it was very good already, even before the actual buff with him, but still, this is so insane right now. 4-dimension creeper. He's your typical, he's in the soul, you soul blast him out, soul charge 2 more. He gets your whole engine running together with Sykes. 2 succubus of pure love. We do only run 5 or 4 grade 3s, so the extra stride folder is still pretty handy. And also, what else would you run? 2 PGs. The reason is, this deck filters through the deck so fast that you always have her in hand or in soul. Unless you're really unlucky and they go here, but then again, you're constantly healing because you're constantly putting them back. So even then they would go to your drop and back into your deck very quickly. So 2 PGs is enough. You can always get her out of the soul into your hand with her skill. She's very good. You always have her. And also, you have so much guard. Like, 1 G guard can block everything because of Sullivan's skill. So this is enough. 4 monochrome cat. She is so damn good. You put her in the deck, you soul charge 1, counter charge, and then you can draw. And people go, yeah, but you need 10 in the soul. Like I said, you always have 10 in the soul. So she counter charges whatever you counter blasted with Word Tiger, and everything else basically counter charges already. So you have no counter blast issues in this deck. You can survive of 1 damage and use that to counter blast like for every skill. This deck already recycles all your triggers, and this one just makes it even worse. She basically recycles herself already. Then for the next thing in the triggers, I kinda like don't do the ideal thing. So I run 3 of these cats, and I also run 1 crit. Now ideally you would go for 2 stands and 2 draws here, but I don't know, I just didn't change it yet. Overall, this card is so good because you're always in darkness, so she gets extra attack, extra shield, and also it goes into the soul if the attack didn't hit. At first, my ID was like, no one sees a crit coming in Dark Irregular anymore because no one runs crits because draws and stands are so great. But yeah, this one should probably become a draw. Maybe go like this. 4 draw trigger, Hysteric Shirley, such a great card. Goes into the soul, you can soul charge again. Just gets everything running if you need it. And otherwise you just get like way more cards in hand. Because unlike in other decks, this 5k shield turns into 15k shield. And if you draw another 5k shield, that's another 15k shield. So draws actually give you a lot of value in this deck. 4 heals, obvious why. The skill one, because you do sometimes use it. Then another MVP, the thing that makes you absolutely broken. This card will allow you to kill on first stride. I will go through the play later, but basically what she does is, or he, some people are arguing, I don't give a fuck. So at the beginning of an attack step, call him or her out and it gets plus 15k. That's only the case though if you're at 15 or more soul, but again, that's almost always the case. Unless you brick super hard, your soul is always big enough for these skills. So that's basically a 20k attacker. You swing, you call another one out, you swing, you call another one out, you swing, you call, like, it gives you 7 attacks on your first stride, all going for 34 or more, and it's just insane. Starter, this one. Back in the day, we used to run the other starter. Oh wait, I do have him here. We used to run this one because he's very good. But this is so free. It's 2 draws. If you didn't put down anything at the beginning, or you only put down, let's say, a Dimension Creeper or a Sykes. When you write Sullivan, you can choose a card on your field and put everything in the deck with the same name into the soul. So what you will often have is this one. So you have this one earlier, you write it, and then you put all the Enigmatic Assassins into your soul. Or you put down a Dimension Creeper or a Sykes so that your whole soul is basically filled and ready to go. And so when you use this one, you can actually put back the Sykes or the Dimension Creeper that you put down earlier and also put it in the soul. Or if you didn't put anything, he goes into the soul and gives you 2 free draws, which is like the most cheap, most plussing starter any deck has ever gotten. Like fucking, well, that's not true, there's a lot of OP starters, but like when I compare to Aqua Force, we have to do so much in order to get 2 draws of Bubble Edge, and like Dark Irregular just got it for free. Fucking insane. Getting into the G zone. I do run 1 GB8. Some people don't, some people do. He's very insane because if you get this game where everything is super slow, like against Luard, you can save up your Enigmatic Assassins in the Soul and just start saving up to go into GB8, because both this deck and Luard constantly have PGs. Luard's Plotmaker Dragons are fucking way too cheap and easy to use for 336. So those are really slow games, and so if you can turtle into GB8 and you saved up all your Enigmatic Assassins, you can do the craziest kill turn ever. You will be swinging 33, 33, 33, 33, like with crits. It's really, really good, so I still run him. For Tybalt, he's the engine that keeps everything actually going. If we ever lost him, the deck would die. Basically what he does is, you stride him, you can put back your whole drop zone into the deck. If you're at a soul that's smaller than 15, you can soul charge 5 and just start going. If you're at a soul that's bigger than 15, your whole front row continuously gets plus 10k. So that's why also comboing with Enigmatic makes it really, really hard for them to win, because you can go 30, 30, 30, 30. He's also the only reason we don't deck out, so that's one thing. Now, I will say, I am missing the new Restander guy, and I would definitely run him, because he's so, so good. But so for now, because I don't have him, we're still running 2 Gilles, or whatever the hell. Just a good finisher. Running 1 Charo, because sometimes it's just really nice to put away your whole field and then blow up theirs. Just a really versatile, nice card. This is usually your first stride because he sets up Soul, but if you know you can set up your Soul with Dimension Creeper and Sykes and everything else, you can also go for this guy, and this guy is the reason we can win on first stride. So let's just say your Soul is full of Sykes and Creepers, and you used Sullivan's skill to put away 3 of these assassins into your soul. So you do all your shenanigans where you blast out Sykes, blast out Creeper, put more stuff into the soul, call Librarian, put more stuff. And let's say, which is a realistic thing that often happens, let's say you soul charge 20. And I'm not exaggerating, this happens all the time. You soul charge 20, so his skill says your whole front row continuously gets plus 20k. At that point, you can swing with your 8k, whatever, Flying Librarian. You swing for 8. Let's say you have something else here. You swing for 29. Use skill Enigmatic Assassin. Call. This is an Enigmatic Assassin. It's 20 by herself. Plus 20 from him. 40. Use Enigmatic Assassin skill. Call. Swing again. 40. Use Enigmatic Assassin skill. Call. 40. Attack again. And then this guy. And because you probably put back monochrome cats and so forth, and we run a lot of stands, you will probably get 1 or 2 stand triggers and you can go again. It's absolutely insane. You easily get 7 attacks. You at least get 6 attacks, but that can easily go up to 7 or 8. That's how you win on first stride. Happens very often, but if you don't, then you can start going into your Tybalts and play the slow game, basically. I'm also running 1 of these. He's not insane. I could easily run one of the newer G-Guards instead of him. Or maybe something else. Maybe an extra Charlotte. I like him. I usually just flip him over with this one if I'm forced to go into him. I'm running him, but I'm kind of thinking of going like this instead. So having 2 of him, because he's very, very good. He automatically kills Melon Blaze, but to be fair, Time Leap will be shifted out and replaced with Zodiac Time Beast very soon. So maybe less ideal then. Automatically kills Aqua Force though, so fuck me. Then 1 Fighters Collection G-Guard. 1 of this. Just a very good card. Gives resist to everything. Then what I usually go into is 2 of these. Soul Charge 2 plus 5k. The Soul Charge 2 is so good because sometimes you will be at your low level of soul, let's say 15. And you know, I Soul Blast 2. And then Sullivan's skill is no longer alive, and I have so many triggers still in my soul that I really want to get out there. So then you will use her to soul charge 2 more, making Sullivan's skill live again, and you can use it once again, bringing back 2 more triggers into your drop, which will then go back into your deck. So I really like her. I might just take this one out and go like this. maybe one of these two. So that was basically the deck profile. Blade Wings is really a force to be reckoned with. Easily tier 1 right now. I'd say the best deck of the moment is Zodiac Time Beast, especially when that 12 comes out. Maybe like Time Leap, Zodiac Time Beast, just one of those take the top spot right now. Underneath are Blade Wing and Blasters. Those two are just so damn good, and then everything else underneath. So Blade Wing is really one of the top 3 decks right now. It's so good. It does take quite some practice though to really get all the combos going and understand like, okay, I might not soul charge extra right now because I might deck out in 3 turns and blah blah. Like, it takes some foresight and like knowing how the game can go depending on the matchup and so forth, because decking out is a real issue if you don't know what you're doing. But overall the deck is just really cool, really fun. As always, I make these playmats, I design them, so if you want any custom playmat, just hit me up on Facebook, link is in the description. And yeah, subscribe, like the video. Ciao!